guy in off the street. He isn't hard to audit at all. He's so damn stupid that he lets the auditor do anything. So what have you got here? You've got an earlier similar incident or an earlier similar ARC break, or you have an earlier similar PCT. Is there an earlier similar miswithheld? When you put a nickel in the slot, then the record arm comes over and goes down, and then the record turns around and plays Methuselah comes again. You gotta know what you're doing. Squirrel, nonsense, upset, bleeble, boggle, yip. You don't, however, ask for another earlier ARC break. That is real crocky. You got an earlier ARC break? Well, that's really clown. That's really a clown question. Really clown. Because, of course, he's got an earlier ARC break. He actually has, by actual computation.
Hi, I'm Errol McInnes. Welcome to Gods and Glass Tubes. Today I decided to do something kind of unique. I took a little trip. We're not going to the IVF clinic today. Today we're doing something pretty special. Today I decided to make my landing spot the Scientology Phoenix Org. As you can see, I'm the only one here. There is one other person hanging around, a security guard who also apparently carries a ladder around and picks at bushes and stuff like that. But that's about it. As you can see, in a city of millions of people, you can see just how many people Scientology Phoenix Org is serving. Absolutely none. Now they have all kinds of beautiful videos up on YouTube, and they have all kinds of beautiful videos up on their website showing this absolutely pristine, beautiful exterior. That was a video that was shot a couple of days after their opening back in 2007. 10 years later, this is what is left. Absolutely nothing. Now I'm going to take you on a little tour of the place. We're going to show you the not so pristine version of this org as it continues to fall apart, as it continues to decay, and as it continues to be neglected by David Miscavige. Now the one thing that David did do was apparently he sent some roofers over to finally replace this roof, apparently because it's leaking. Now I chose this particular location for a very special reason. This is not the first org to have been opened in Phoenix. There was an org that was opened in Phoenix before, and it was actually much smaller. It was about a quarter of the size of this one. That one stood abandoned for years. David Miscavige, for some odd reason, felt compelled to buy one that was approximately 4 times the size, in spite of the fact that the other one wasn't being used. He came out here and he opened this one. Now at the grand opening of this one, that included Phoenix's Mayor Greg Stanton, he didn't mention anything at all about the other one being abandoned. He actually called this one growth. He said that Scientology was growing so much in Phoenix that they had to expand, they had to open this complex here. Much as you can see, this complex serves the exact same amount as the last complex did. Exactly 0. Now, when Tom Cruise made his video promoting Scientology, one of the big points that he touted was that Scientologists can see some kind of disaster and do something about it. Now, if you look directly behind me, and I'll move so we can get a clearer shot, directly behind me, a car accident occurred while I was filming. This car accident occurred right here near the Phoenix Org. Apparently, Scientologists could do nothing about it because there simply are none here. So the message there is pretty clear. Scientology can't do anything that Tom Cruise stated that they could do. So while I was standing out here kind of taking a break from shooting, I was actually approached by an individual who had on what appeared to be an RPF uniform. He didn't have the estates emblem on the shirt. He just had dark pants and dark shirt, and they were pretty dirty and nasty, and he looked like he hadn't been eating for several weeks, and looked like he'd kind of been sitting around a hole somewhere smoking crack, smoking meth. But there he is. There's our little Psy puppy. He's just kind of checking things out, patrolling the parking lot. So there's our one Scientologist who's here right now. That's about probably all we're going to see, because this place is pretty well abandoned. They keep doing some pretty basic maintenance. Their little Scientology board. Which is made with crappy laminate, and it's actually starting to buckle and fall off. So I'm going to leave that alone. So this is Miscavige's idea of charity. It's to come out here, buy this precious shitty building here at 3845 44th Street, spent tens of millions of dollars on it, and does nothing with it. And look, here's all the people that are driving right by the Church of Scientology. Not a goddamn one of them is a Scientologist. They've all got better things to do. So I'll try to come back here to this little, I don't know what they call it, dining area, bar, cafe. Have little umbrellas out. Have some dead cactuses. A bunch of empty chairs, a bunch of rusty tables, a rusty old grill. Been sitting there for 10 years, doing nothing. Another rusty grill right there. A lot of age, a lot of rust, a lot of overgrowth. So I guess the one charitable, let me fix that angle. So I guess the one charitable thing that Miscavige did was that he hired a couple of people to make a few bucks putting a new roof on the joint. I'm sure it probably looks like it needs it. The roof probably leaks all over the place. Zero maintenance, zero population. The dandelions are growing wild. And that's what you get at the Church of Scientology at 3875 44th Street here in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. So as an interesting side note to the whole Scientology thing and OT VIII and, you know, Zeno packed all the humans up into DC-8s and threw them into, you know, froze them and threw them into volcanoes. Let's look at the OT powers of Scientology. Let's take a little closer look at where Scientology gets their OT powers. This is the lawn of the Phoenix Org. And looking here, looks like a crack bag. A little bag of meth. And then, of course, there's a vodka bottle. So I guess that could certainly help with the OT powers there. You know, if they want to do their stable exteriorization, I guess a little bit of meth and a little bit of vodka will certainly help that cause. There we have it. That's a kind of a brief overview of the Phoenix Org and of Scientologists, you know, not doing anything at all about a car accident because they can't help mankind because they're nowhere around. They're just not here because they don't exist. Scientology here in Phoenix is a dead religion. It's going to continue to be a dead religion because those of us, the millions of us who live here in Phoenix, know better. The millions of us who live here in Phoenix know that it's a scam. The millions of us who live here in Phoenix know that it's bullshit. So now I'm going to get to the other point that I wanted to get to as far as this particular org. Let's get to the point of two gentlemen who tout this as satanic worship or whatever, and you know they want to change the world by bringing the gospel to the world. Guess who's also not here bringing the gospel? Jeff Durbin didn't show up today. Jeff Durbin's never been to this place. He doesn't know this place even exists because he doesn't do his research. According to Jeff Durbin, you know, he has already confessed on my camera that he has holes or blind spots in his religion. As far as Steve Anderson doesn't protest anything. Steve Anderson prefers to hide in his little church in Tempe and carry on in some snowflake manner about the work that people like me do, as far as showing religion to be the hypocritical institute that it is, where they want to say one thing and then they want to do another, or they want to fault everybody else and then make themselves look right. So it kind of surprises me that neither of them have a church out here on Cult Row. They fit right in here in this little cubbyhole here. You could have the Church of Scientology, and then you could have the Latter-day Saints, the Jehovah's Witnesses, and then right along there, we could just park Jeff's church there. We could park Steve's church right there, all side by side. They could be one little comfortable cubbyhole. But maybe that would be too much for this neighborhood. Maybe the neighborhood is barely getting along with Scientology. Maybe the neighborhood is glad that Scientology is here, because that makes this the quietest block in town. There's nobody here. The big old huge entire city block is covered by this building that nobody comes into. Here's another stop on our little tour of Cult Row here in Phoenix, Arizona. The church behind me that you see is the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses use the popular cult tactics of disassociating families, separating children from their parents if any of those entities disagree with anything at all that they have to say. Now, they also have another popular rule among cults, and it's a rather disturbing rule among cults. It's the two-witness rule. So if any one of these church members that comes to this church molests a child, rapes a woman, anything like that, in that case there's only one witness. So the Jehovah's Witnesses have a standing policy of not involving law enforcement. Instead, they'll do their own in-house investigation, which generally results in absolutely nothing happening, the incident being covered up. And then they'll just simply explain it away by saying, well, there was only one witness to the crime other than the person who was impacted. The person who was impacted in that two-witness policy doesn't count as a witness. So that's that. And once again, we come to find that you get people like Jeff Durbin who want to stand out there in Mesa in these big crowded areas that have cameras in front of them because he only wants to spread the gospel in places where it's popular for people to congregate. He only wants to spread the gospel where he knows that his image is going to be shown all over the internet. I choose not to do that. I choose to spread my message at some of the least popular places. I'll spread my message here at the Jehovah's Witness Church. I'll spread my message over there at the Scientology org that cults are cults. Cults do damage. Cults terrify. Cults use brutal tactics, and they exploit, and they manipulate, and they damage people's lives. And yet, you won't see either Jeff Durbin or Steve Anderson out here on these streets. They won't come out here and protest. They never have come out here and protest, and they will continue to steadfastly refuse so, in as much as the same manner as they steadfastly refuse to protest the IVF clinics.